what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, hey, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420. Damn it.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiva grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Yeah. This is happening because something
loading.
is broken. It's on, but it's not on. Oh, bother.
Okay, Pooh. Listen.
Right. Yes. We are here. Yes.
I'm on the chat room, and all I can see is it says the current song, which would be us, is loading.
Really?
Really?
Well, it's loaded.
Yes.
And it's running.
Now it is.
And we're here. So this is
we are.
the 420 radio show. I don't know why things are so. This is
we are.
the 420 radio show. I don't know why things are acting up the way they are today, but they are. So forgive us if we sound like crap.
Welcome to the internet.
Yeah, welcome to the world of the internet. So, 420 radio show, lifestyleradio.net. Come on in the chat room. You can give us a call at 323-795-2420. We've got that on as well.
Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, the chat room.
Yep, at the 420 radio show, chat room, Facebook, Twitter, old lady in my window.
We're like everywhere.
There's old ladies in my window.
There's an old lady in your window?
Yes.
Is she cute?
No, that's not what I meant. But they're the ladies from the building. They're out doing their evening gardening.
Oh, nice.
Yes, they take care of the garden.
I'd go do evening gardening, but I'd have to shovel snow first. So
you still got snow there?
I would too.
I can see the tops of some of my chairs right now, I'll tell you. So we know that it's going down.
Well, I'm going to piss you off real bad. I have been sitting out back in my fucking shorts all day.
Yeah, okay, you suck.
Sick.
Yeah, I'm a sick boy. It was frickin' 18 here yesterday.
It was 10 here today.
Gotta love Ontario. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Except, you know what?
What?
It's still Ontario.
Good things grow in Ontario. Oh, isn't that what they used to say?
I've lived everywhere, and I've lived in Ontario. And I can always say that it's in the past tense. Lived.
Well, you know what? I'm born and raised Ontario. Grew up in Toronto.
So you never lived anywhere else? There are actually better places.
Not other than, well, I spent my summers as a child, as a teen, or in between, in PEI, working on a lobster fish every summer, which was kind of cool.
Nothing like Nova Scotia.
I do like it out east. I do. But everybody's here. Yep. So can't go anywhere.
Well, Marcel and I aren't.
You know what I meant. I don't need to live out there to talk to you two.
True.
I hear them.
Well, yeah, that's true.
For some reason,
I can give you an update. Yeah, we still have snow and it sucks.
Oh, I'm reading the chat room. Don't read the chat room, Al. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We've got some news. Ellen's got some news, don't you?
Yep,
okay.
I do.
And
we might get news later.
We're going to talk about what Marcel is doing tomorrow. He's doing a lecture tomorrow. You might want to catch it.
That'll be a fun one tomorrow.
Will it? What is it about?
Yeah, I have no fucking idea what I'm going to say.
Oh, bullshit.
Seriously. It'll be fun.
Okay, so the question, you wanted to present a question, and I wanted to present a question for today's show. And that my question is do you think that we're going to wake up to a better tomorrow on Monday morning after this whole big CNN shindig Sunday night? Supposedly, Obama is going to come out in favor of something that is very important.
I think it if it comes out the way that
it sounds,
or they want it to, or they're predicting, I think it could throw a lot of egg onto the face of the Canadian government.
I think that it's going to throw a loop into, I think Monday morning the cannabis community worldwide is going to be a little different. Regardless.
It would be an interesting way to celebrate 420, though, wouldn't it?
Well, and I suspect that had something to do with their timing.
Well, I mean, I did an interview this week with the Hill Times, which is a paper out of Ottawa that's meant specifically for the politicians.
Oh yeah, what kind of questions do real interviewers ask you?
They ask me a lot of different questions, but this was in regards to the health policy briefing that comes out.
Yep.
And surprisingly, the health policy briefing this year comes out on 420. And it just happens to have a nice section in it in regards to the licensed producers and how they've been doing after a year
miserably
in operation. And I basically said they're doing exactly the way we predicted they would.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They're trying to mass produce something that we know we've mastered for years. And they're not going to get it right all the time. So, but that was more the gist of what this interview was about, was in regards to how the patients feel that the licensed producers are doing after a year. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard one positive story, not a single one.
I mean, I've heard the odd positive that people are happy that they're getting something. But that's it. I mean, but these are, of course, are a lot of times patients that don't have any experience with cannabis.
Yeah. So
a lot of, for them, it's for their first time, and they're rather happy they're at least getting something that's helping them. But, I mean, the track record of the licensed producers and their recalls and shady business dealings and everything else just kind of goes to show it's exactly what we as the patients suspected would happen.
Well, I don't think that they've hired anybody that really knows what they're doing. If they're having problems with mold, they're obviously
But see, the thing is, even if they're hiring somebody that knows what they're doing, they're hiring people that may have been licensed growers before, that have been responsible for, 25 or 50 or 100 plants.
Yeah.
But now they're in a position where they've got to grow, or 10,000 plants. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have some issues.
And they've hired, these companies have actually hired patients that used to be growing as well, from what I understand.
Yes, they have.
So, I mean, and those patients.
We had one on air one night.
I know.
And it's great that because he's a very competent grower.
But
can he grow
3,000
plants in one shot and not have mold?
Exactly. Or anything, or any other problems. Right?
Pardon me?
Do they not have enough staff? Is that part of the problem, do you think?
Well, that could be part of the problem, but usually not enough staff is a result of somebody being greedy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
because staff you have to pay. So an easy way to cut back on what you've got to pay out is not to have as much staff. But I think it's more of a matter, you need staff that are qualified or have the experience and know what they're doing. And this is a brand new industry. So they're going to have a lot of hiccups and nightmares along the way until they learn or figure this out.
Every industry is like that.
Yeah.
Prairie Plant System's been doing it for years, and guess what? They're still producing crap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no offense to Prairie Plant System. I'm sure you have some customers that love your product, but I've seen it, so that's how I can call it crap.
And so says Marcel Gigliak.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just call it as I see it. There's no sense in mincing words. You're dealing with people's lives and their medicine.
That's right. You are.
And if you're going to be a licensed producer, then you've got to at least know what the hell you're doing.
I have tried it. I've tried their product. I had a friend who got some and said, hey, try this. And I said, what's this? It's all ground up. Did you grind it up? He said, nope, it came that way. So the conversation went from there. No, I'm not going to badmouth them because you know what? Okay. If that's how they do it, I don't want it, but that's my choice. But like you said, there are some people out there, I'm sure, that are fine with it, right?
Oh, yeah. Because they don't know better and it works for them. And if it works, like I said before, all the power to you.
What I didn't like about how they've been doing it in the past is that most people didn't know that most of the product was coming from a mine, and they didn't know where, I didn't know where it was being grown. I didn't know who was growing it. I just knew that this was my option or go to a dispensary. Those were my options, right? So they don't really tell you much. I guess there's a reason for that.
I don't think they've actually clued in or that they actually care that they're producing this for sick people. You don't get a license because you've got a toe or a sprained wrist. You get a license because you're actually are sick and nothing else works for you.
I don't know if I would go as far as say they don't care. A business is business, and when you have a business plan, you stick within that business plan regardless whether or not it's good for the patient or not, right?
Here's the biggest problem is the people that signed on to be licensed producers should have been intelligent enough to realize that they were getting fed a load of shit, because what they were told is Health Canada would change the rules so that all of the patients in Canada would purchase from them. So they would have a base customer to start off with. Of course, these guys didn't realize that the patients aren't going to agree to that one without a fight.
Yeah.
So now we'll have this battle on, and seriously, if we don't retain our rights to grow, then there's going to be a lot more illegal growers out there than there already is.
Yeah.
Because the patients that know how to grow are not going to purchase that stuff from licensed producers.
They can't, or I could never.
Do you know who grows? Do you know who grows the best stuff?
No idea.
The grower that grows it himself, because he'll tell you it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, because it's the grower that grows it. To him, it's the best. And you can't really dispute it.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly what he wanted to grow.
Yeah. We've had this conversation over and over and over again, haven't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, the licensed producers, yes, there's a purpose for them, and we need them. But they can't expect to get all of the business. Patients are still going to have to be able to grow their own, but they would fall into place for the people that don't have the facility to grow theirs.
Like myself, like
yep.
Most of the people I know who are medical.
Now, what happens if Mr. Obama comes out and said that they're removing cannabis from the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act in the U.S.?
A judge has already said that is not happening.
It's not up to a judge.
True enough.
And it's same in Canada. A judge in Canada can't say that it's removed from the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act because the politicians put it there.
Okay. So what's
they
the
put
process?
It there illegally, but they put it there.
Yeah. So what's the process of having that removed?
A government's got to have enough balls to stand up and say they're repealing that law.
That ain't going to happen, is it?
But will they repeal, or
No.
will they just change it?
No, because corporations would be suffering. As soon as it's removed from Controlled Drug Substance Act, people can start using it for industry.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
So
right.
construction could get hempcrete. Paper could actually be made out of a really good renewable resource instead of wasting all of our
Better
trees.
quality paper.
Better quality paper. Better quality clothing and no poisoning of the soil like you have to do with cotton.
Yeah.
Right? The clothing
Imagine
will
the
last you
money
much
that could
longer.
actually be made.
But
It would be
more
new
importantly,
money, the old
a
guys.
biofuel that can actually help our environment instead of destroying it like carbon fuel does.
Yep.
That's the only reason it's they maintain to keep it illegal. Is because of how much all of those other people that control everything would lose.
I have a question.
Sure.
I think that we should ask our listeners to weigh in on this. So I'm going to post a little post and see if we can get some callers. How's that? Good idea?
Ask the question.
Ask the question. What is the question? The
I have no
answer
idea.
is the question.
It's your question.
Well, the question is what do you think? We want to know what you think, right? Simple as that. So,
Yeah.
call in. Let us
Tell us
know.
what the solution is.
Let your voice be heard. Blah, 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 as they say. And let the games begin. And while we're waiting for that to happen, we're going to sit here and talk to you.
Again?
Yes, we're just going to sit here until somebody fucking calls in. How's that?
Oh, all right. You guys better call in quick because this is going to get boring fast.
Could be a long night. Tell us about tomorrow, Marcel.
Tomorrow's cool.
Yes.
Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana is putting in a booth at the Health and Wellness Show. And normally they would put on a 420 event.
Yes.
But what they've decided to do this year is, instead of the 420 event, is to take that funds and put it into a show that is not a cannabis-related show. So
Good idea.
Yeah. So what it is, it's the health and wellness show. So it's chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, a lot of psychics, health foods, that type of thing. So it's a completely different show than what Mom is normally used to doing. Right? Normally
Excellent chance to educate.
And it's
That's
about
the whole
time.
idea.
It's about
Pardon?
time. It's about time that this type of booth is going to start showing up at
I've been
shows
saying
like
for a
this.
couple of years that
Yeah.
what we've got to start doing is going after the people that vote. And that's basically our seniors.
Yeah.
So now what I'm trying to do is talk them to start going into the 50 plus expos and things like that and doing the same thing, because we were asked, or they were asked to, if they could supply someone to put on a seminar about medicinal cannabis. So they turned around and they asked me if I would do that. So I'm going to do that tomorrow at 2 in Halifax, but of course I got to drive to the other side of the province to do it. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to do a talk where it's not all the same old faces. So I'm not going to feel like I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
My problem is I have no idea what I'm going to say.
Yeah, but that you always figure it out. So
Yeah, usually within the first few seconds of looking at the crowd, I can
I was
kind of
gonna say,
gauge
yeah.
where I should kind of go with this. So,
Starting with your story's got to be a good way to start.
but you know what? I'm so bored of that story. I mean,
it is his story.
I heard it from, because I asked Chrissy, I said, what do you think I should do? And she said the same thing. She said, start with your story. And I said, don't you think it's boring after a while? Because, I mean,
these people would never have heard it before, so it won't
this
be
is
boring
true.
for them.
But then what I'd end up having to do is if we get the right crowd, then I got to make sure that there's enough time for questions and answers. Because a lot of times I'll make people ask questions.
How can we make people ask questions on here?
It's a little harder.
Yeah, it is.
Because I'll point people out and I'll ask them questions.
Excuse me, you over there in the corner in the purple shirt.
Oh, I do. I'll make it as interactive as I can because I'll ask them questions like who've used it, who've thought about using it, who's afraid to use it. I don't care. I know I've heard all of the answers before, so they're not going to surprise me when they answer me. But then at least open up a dialogue to get them comfortable enough to ask the questions. Because unfortunately, outside of our community, the people are afraid to even say the word out loud.
Yep.
That's what we've boiled down to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think our goal
and that's a good, you know what?
Educate those people that it's not as bad as you've been led to believe. And we've got to do it nicely.
You know what?
Yeah.
This week, a gal named Sana got into a bit of a pickle because of something that was said in a classroom.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I mean, when I was 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there, my first major project for school was a project on marijuana. And I was, my dad helped me. He's a physician. He helped me make sure that I got all the information correct and blah, 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 blah. And nothing was said. I wasn't in trouble. I didn't get grounded or sent to the principal's office. But yet, somebody who has been fighting for this cause for how many years gets wrapped up into something because of something her child said in a classroom.
It was because of where he said it. It was because of where he said it and what that group does and what they actually represent.
Well, I have spoken with her, and I'm going to try and get her on the show as soon as we can because I want to find out what's going on. Like, this is just, it's baffling my fucking head, man. It's so beyond believable.
You can actually, but you can inform your school that your kid is not to attend that DARE program.
This was because of a DARE program.
That was during a DARE program, and what he did is the kid, the same as my kid would have done, is corrected the instructor in the misconception he was putting out about cannabis.
And he didn't like that, or she didn't like that, and took offense to it and decided to fire back.
My kid did it in class, and the teacher, the class started freaking out, and the teacher said that my kid was absolutely correct.
Yep.
Right?
Nice. But
she also said that if people tell you it's bad for you, they're either stupid or liars. So, I mean, but it's a medicine. And DARE was set up to convince little kids to rat out a relative.
Yep.
There's a guy made a fortune off of his shirts. But says my kid went to DARE and all I got was arrested.
Yep.
Because that's what DARE was for. And they did exactly that, and that's why she's in this position. And she's going to have a fight, but she'll end up winning it. Because all she has to do is show how corrupt DARE is.
I think that this is going to be a big grandstand for cannabis itself, because it is such a stupid thing when education is the key and what we're trying to get everybody involved in. They go after a kid.
Yeah, see, this is the thing that blows me away is there's a lot of us that are very outspoken.
Yep. I've actually been told, you talk about pot too much, man. You need to kind of chill out.
Yeah, but some of us are extremely outspoken. Now, for a prosecutor to go after somebody that's extremely outspoken, they've got to realize that they're going to have a fight. Because if we're outspoken, we're not going to back down.
No.
And I'm sure Shauna's going to put up the fight of her life.
Shauna's been on every mainstream media channel with what she's gone through and her support for cannabis. I've seen her on CNN. I've seen her on MSNBC. You know, they've talked about her in mainstream media for several years now. So they're going to have a frickin' field day with this. Okay? Especially with what's going on. They were talking about it on CNN this afternoon. Of course they were.
Were they?
Oh, yes, of course they were.
Good.
They've been talking about pot all day. And then that's leading up to what's happening on Friday night. So now I want to ask you a question about that because
on what night?
On Sunday night. Sorry.
Sunday.
I'm normally I won't, bother with comments and stuff like that. But obviously, this thread that we've posted about Barack Obama and coming out in support and yada yada has upset somebody. And I know Chris because I've chatted with him before. He's from the Oregon Hemp Works, and I wish that he would call in if he's listening because he's got a valid argument. What he's saying is like he's upset that all these people are now jumping on the bandwagon, basically, right? And it creates confusion, and it does. And like we said at the beginning of the show, what happens on Sunday night is going to impact a lot of things, right? I mean, it's just inevitable. Dr. Gupta has a voice to North America, if not the whole world. He does have a voice. That's why they're using it. He's one of the top 10 best surgeons in the world. And he's very, very respected. I don't think that. I think that some people don't like that his turnaround. Okay, 1 minute he's not for, the next minute he's for. But he's done the research. He's done it in the form of now 3 documentaries Sunday night on CNN. And I'm really interested to see what he has to say. I'm really interested to see what Barack Obama has to say, because these are the words that America, anyways, has been waiting to hear for a very long time, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, but isn't it long overdue? I mean, 50% of the country have or at
53%.
Pretty much 50%.
53%.
53% of their country. No. 50% of their states have some form of program by now, don't they?
Yeah, and then there was another state has just said okie dokie to it as well. I just posted
Georgia did.
Georgia, that was it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're now
Georgia, and I mean, we're starting to get to the southern states. I mean, Utah did it.
Yeah, that was last week. Yeah.
Yep.
I've still had Utah way down on that list.
I am going to give you guys a link here. There's an article in Alternet, the 9 states where marijuana will be legal last. And
yes, I saw that.
Did you see it? Did you see that one,
Yeah.
Marcel?
No.
No, you didn't.
Of course I didn't.
Well, here, I'm going to put it in here, and then you guys can... Yeah, of course you didn't. You're Canadian. Why would you read that?
I've had so much other stuff on the go.
I just posted the link in our chat there. What's that?
I said it was some other article it was attached to.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it here. They've got 5 states, 7, 8, 9 different states. Well, Utah just did it, didn't they?
See, I'm putting
that was last week.
That was last week.
Yeah, Utah did it. I had them down.
This is from from the 11th, so last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So South Dakota. So the bottom 8 now are South Dakota, South Carolina, Oklahoma, North Dakota.
Oklahoma's about ready to pass theirs.
Yeah.
They just passed a proposal.
Louisiana, who I suspect would be the last one.
Oh, I don't know, dude, because, Brian, my old smokes a lot there from way back when. He's in Arkansas, and he watches that state like a hawk. And my God, I honestly think that Arkansas is going to be last. I really do.
Really?
It's unfortunate, but they're just.
I figured there'd be so many backwoods growers that they'd be all for this.
Well, and I'm sure there are, but I don't see it happening, and
See, after alcohol prohibition ended, they could have just got rid of a lot of their stills, and switch.
Yeah, yep.
Right. I mean, it's a great cash crop.
Well, it's happening now,
but
right. It's going to happen regardless. It's just who's going to do it first, right?
A few years ago, all I said is all the government has to do is come out and say that we're repealing all the laws against cannabis. It was a mistake made by a prior administration.
And how many billions of dollars will go down the tubes if that happens?
Blame it on the other guys, though.
Well, yeah, but
the only problem I have with it is it causes a lot of other. One of which being is the people that are imprisoned for possession or whatever of cannabis. If you have 1 million people in prison because they're serving time for that and laws change and they're all released, you can't put 1 million people out on the streets without jobs.
No.
Right? Mm-hmm. So socially it would be a major blow. So ideally what you've got to do is set it up so that you can capitalize on the hemp side and create industry to have jobs available for those ones getting out. Would make more sense, wouldn't it?
How much does it cost a year to keep somebody in jail?
About $100,000 a year.
That's in Canada or the U.S.?
In Canada.
So if they let them out and supported them for
30,000.
A certain amount of time, they'd still be saving money.
Disability pension of $12,000 a year, they could save a bundle there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They really could.
Yeah. There's ways to make it work. It's just that it's not as cut and dried as everybody thinks. And if we get a change in government in Canada and they decide to go the legalized route and set it up like tobacco and alcohol, then that's great. But there's still going to be the faction that knows that it has to be removed from the CDSA to be beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's where the fight is right now, pretty much, on both sides of the border.
Well,
to remove it, basically.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. That's the solution, is to remove it.
Yeah.
But industry's fighting hard to keep it from being removed.
As is the UN, aren't they not?
Well, the UN's basically controlled by the industry anyway, so.
True enough.
It's all the same money.
Yeah.
When it comes right down to it, so it's all a matter of us standing up for our rights against those that have the money.
And there are lots of people doing that.
In the States, the big problem would be that they've guaranteed that their prisons will stay full. To the people that own the prisons, they have a contract.
Well, yeah, they're not. They're all the supermax. Yep.
Occupancy?
Yeah.
Who does that? Why? That's just crazy.
Yeah, the U.S. has more prisoners than I think all of the other countries combined or something stupid like that.
Yeah, and now more children living in poverty.
Yeah.
And that's probably directly related to all of these people that are in jail.
I mean, in countries in Africa and Asia and things like that, does this mean we're going to have to start doing it to the U.S. because they keep putting everybody in jail? Are they going to start looking for aid
Don't
for the homeless people?
That's like a lot to think about, isn't it?
It is. See what happens when you use cannabis? Your brain works.
Yeah, and my brain's telling me that we need to listen to some music, but I want to ask you a question.
Axe away, dude.
How's your ice cream?
Oh my God, it's good.
Yeah?
But don't have a bowl with bananas at bedtime.
You can't.
You'll sleep in. You'll miss the alarm. You'll miss everything.
You're going to have to listen to the feed to hear what I'm playing in the background, but we'll be back in a few minutes on the 420 radio show. I was playing that's fucking...
This is Bubbles from the trailer park, and they're playing some fucking excellent music on lifestyleradio.ca. I hope I didn't sound too nervous there.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
One in, yeah. One in. We don't swap me yan. Let's rock and rank and bliss it till morning. Do it, y'all. I really herbalist about y'all.
Yeah, me love me marijuana. Sense-a-media fibon. Because me love me sense-a-media. Sense-a-media fibon. Me love me marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Love me marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon.
Yeah, me sit down and me roll it in a wrist lap on me lap. Every day me smoke make your eye them drop. Blaze me a blaze and you know me not go stop. You ganja man and me not take no gap. You're dealing with the herbalist. You're the real specialist who have no ganja na impalist. Don't reach out back sensitivity where you give me a shot.
Yeah, me love me marijuana. Sense-a-media fibon. Sense-a-media fibon. Because me love me sense-a-media. Sense-a-media fibon. Sense-a-media fibon. Me love me marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Love me marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Cause it's the healing of the nation of what people might say. Ganja in the morning, smoking ganja all day. Some drink, some stress, but me not roll that way.
I strictly sense me love in no deal with smoking.
When me burn up me spliff, it make my eye turn red. Yeah, me feel alright, me shake me bread. I drink over coke, and that me promote. As some me tell you, well me not the panjo. Yeah, me love me marijuana. Sense-a-media fibon. Because me love me sense-a-media. Sense-a-media fibon. Me love me marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Love me marijuana fibon. It a fibon, a fibon.
Yes, baby, light up me chalice, yes, me feel alright.
Lift up me meditation, reaching a higher heights.
Me nah understand why marijuana them a fight.
Healing your nation, right? Chop, Patsy, give me the ease. Make me roll a spliff where fat like a bima.
Then see a fee easy, no man that want that super flower.
Ganja every day, come me blessed with the power.
Me higher than the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, me marijuana. Sense-a-media fibon. Sense-a-media fibon. Because me love me sense-a-media. Sense-a-media fibon. Sense-a-media fibon. Me love me marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Marijuana fibon. Chad. Sense-a-media fibon.
I was looking for an assistant, but I wouldn't want the backlash. There we go. See, I'm looking for an assistant. There we go. There, I said it. On lifestyleradio.net. Come in the chat room because we're bored. And we're talking to you.
I'm just bored of hearing me.
Yeah, me too. I want to hear somebody else. Give us a call, 323-795-2420, or call us on Skype. It is on. You can look us up on Skype, Lifestyle Radio. You will find us on there. Or you can tweet us. Tweet us on the tweeter. A lot of people are going on and on and on about this Sunday night thing. Okay, so
now in Canada, a lot have been going on about Stats Canada report.
It's just going to go there.
Yeah.
And part of the report, our wonderful health minister decided to also speak about and take credit for, but
I wish we had.
That's just a crock of shit.
Hold on. Wait.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so Stats Canada come up with a report this week, and it's based on it's a survey of all Canadians on cannabis compared to the last 10 years. And a few startling facts that came about with this was the drop in usage for younger ages. Almost a third less of the 15 to 17-year-olds are now using cannabis.
Why do you think that is?
Well, according to Ms. Ambrose, it's the Conservative government's tough stance on cannabis that is deterring it and making it so that the 15 to 17-year-olds won't use it. Well, that's crock shit. It's because we're teaching them that it's medicine and it's not dangerous. There's no risk for them, so why would they bother using it? There's no risk. They'll wait until they try other things. What she also doesn't fail to say in her little letter about claiming how great of a job that they've done with dropping the usage rates for 15 to 17-year-olds is that every other age also had an increase.
I was going to say, why the fuck would they choose that specific age range?
Because every other age group increased in their usage, and it doesn't look good. So she'll take credit for the commercials and crap like that working on those younger ones, but all it really is kids are more open to the information. Not open to the information. They have more access to the actual truth about cannabis, not the crap that the government tells them.
You know what, Marcel? I honestly wish that we could have some teenagers on the show without getting into any trouble. I think we could probably get away with it if we had their parents on. But the backlash that might happen to their parents, as we've seen with Shauna, could be detrimental. I mean,
yeah, I've got a teenager and I could bring her on, but I mean, all she's going to do is say the same thing that I say. Right? She doesn't use it. Because she doesn't need it.
Yeah, we need
right.
We need
for her. It's a medicine. It's old people medicine.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I've talked to my niece who has type 1 diabetes, and we've talked to her about using cannabis to control it when she gets older. And she said, okay, when I get older, right now, let's just go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
So she's learning,
here's
learning her insulin and everything, right?
Kids are all the same. If the parents use cannabis as a medicine, All right? It's the same as if the parents started listening to their kids' music. All right? It's no longer cool.
Oh, hell, I do that all the time. I drive around with it's all about that bass cranked up driving through town, and she like slinks down and hides. She doesn't want nothing to do with that.
That's right, because if you're listening to it, it's no longer cool. Well, if your mom and dad are having a puff after work, well, geez, that's no longer cool.
Yeah. In most cases,
that's all it boils down to,
yeah,
really.
In most cases, I think you're right. But I mean, there is that what is it? Inquisitive side of kids. That interest. I know
that's human nature.
I know that I grew up. Sorry, Mom. Grew up smelling it in the house. Not all the time. Now and then,
Yeah.
When certain people were around. And I literally grew up hanging out in Yorkville. So, it was around in the 60s, 70s. And so it's always been there. Now, my friends, I was around it very early, and my friends were smoking very early, 12, 13, 14, 15, around there. I didn't start smoking until I was 19, Marcel, because I was being treated for hyperactivity. I was on Ritalin and Dexedrine. I was high enough. Just give me my beer, because I had discovered that if you drink on Ritalin and Dexedrine, you get really fucking plastered. So that was my thing. But then I tried it, and I think I'll light this one. Are you there?
Sure. I was still listening to you.
Oh, okay. I was done.
Oh, sorry. I got so into it. For most kids, it's human nature to be curious and wonder what it is.
Yeah.
So, my kid doesn't use it, but what she does is she comes and asks me how it makes you feel. Then she tells me how her friends describe that it makes them feel, to see if they're actually telling the truth or not.
You see, that's I'd like to walk in. I would love to walk into a classroom and just say, okay, but you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Okay, who smokes pot? You couldn't do it.
Here's the thing. You could do it, but the parents would freak out. Now, it's quite all right for the parents to let the kids or let somebody go in and lie to their kids under the guise of being a DARE program.
Yep.
But they would freak if somebody went in and told them the truth about cannabis, because it would make them out to be liars.
I suspect that if I walked into a public school in an arranged setting and started talking about cannabis and all that stuff, I suspect there would be a police officer there within minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Because the kids would text it, oh, wow, we got some guy talking to us about cannabis, and it's not really dangerous at all. Yeah. Right? That text would go like fire, and yeah, you would have cops there pretty quick.
Now, do you have, you go to a lot of meetings and that, you hold them in that, right?
Well, I try to. I speak at a lot of events and things.
So
try to get to the meetings.
Do you ever get harassed or anything like that at these events for being there by the authorities or people who are against it?
Never.
Really?
No.
So they just kind of, people who are against it.
And the reason they don't, they may at other ones, but not when I'm there. And I think the biggest reason is because I openly welcome any debate. You prove to me that cannabis is bad. Bring it. Yeah. And I'll prove exactly how wrong you are. So I don't have that issue of anybody spouting off to me in person. Now, I've had it happen on interviews on the radio that after I've hung up, a caller will call in and say that I'm an idiot or something like that.
Really?
But never to me when I can respond back, because they find out that this pothead isn't an idiot when it comes to cannabis. Right?
I welcome that. I welcome somebody with an alternative opinion on cannabis or any other subject that we talk about.
Me too. Bring it. But I mean, I have an open offer to any politician that claims cannabis is bad, and that's to debate me in public.
Bring it.
If you're going to lie to the people, come on, let's do it good. We'll set it up, and and I'm sure I could find televisions and stations and reporters that would love to be all over it. It's just they won't debate it because, especially publicly, because they know they'll lose.
They've got no facts to back them up. So
no, all they can do is they can lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all they do. I mean, I listen to my wonderful member of parliament, who's a conservative, on a radio show with members from other parties. And he literally was on there and lied through his teeth about how dangerous cannabis is to the children and everything like that. Was called on it by one of the other politicians on his lies. And you know what his response was? Just to continue lying.
Yep.
Right? So either they have it drilled into their heads that they actually believe this stuff, or they're the greatest manipulating liars ever.
I think that's it, Marcel. I think
it's a bit of both.
They're not stupid.
I would hope not. Seriously. I mean, I've called this guy stupid enough times, and I honestly hope he's not near as stupid as he's been portraying himself to be.
Well, he has a PhD. He can't
Nancy
be
Grace
all
stupid?
Oh, I don't know. I've met some pretty stupid doctors.
Is it Nancy Grace stupid, dude?
That's what it is. It's Nancy Grace stupid.
And I think that's what we're going to call stupid people from now on until they send us a cease and desist order. Nancy Grace stupid.
Yep. Yeah, you're Nancy Grace stupid. We're going to hashtag that one.
I'm going to. No, I should. We have a new hashtag, Nancy Grace stupid. There you go.
Oh, you're at hashtag Nancy Grace stupid. Yeah, that's good. We'll use that. I'll use it. I don't care.
A new saying around here. We have a new saying around here.
Yeah.
At hashtag your Nancy
Grace stupid. Yep.
NANCA
NANCY.
Yeah. Grace A.
Yeah, that's all one word.
A-C-E.
Anti-Grace stupid.
Stupid.
It's like yeah, but.
Yeah, but. Now,
yeah, but.
Let's see. Make sure I spelled that right. It's an
but.
You know what? It's an actual hashtag because it came up green. It's not a new one.
Oh, good. At least we know other people think along the same lines. They must use cannabis.
Oh, I'm going to add that when it comes to cannabis.
You're Nancy Grace stupid. Go ahead and send that to Rona Ambrose.
We have a new saying around here. When it comes to cannabis, hashtag your Nancy Grace stupid.
There you go.
There you
Perfect. She's my hero.
Yeah. She was on the other day talking about something on CNN. I don't know why they would have a Fox reporter on CNN, but yeah, whatever.
I would not know because as soon as her voice come on the TV, my TV would go off. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Anyways,
no use for so.
It's the middle of the show, and I thought we'd let Ellen do the news.
Oh, yay.
I'm going to shut my mic off now and go and have a sandwich.
Yeah,
oh,
Ellen,
my goodness.
what's new?
What's new? What's new, Ellen?
I'm trying to come up with something as you speak.
Oh, you don't have any news for us?
You need a couple of more minutes?
I do have the news for us, but the problem being we've already talked about all of the news items I've had, so everybody's going to have to listen to this again.
You didn't talk. We just said...
I did a little bit.
Well, maybe you have better news.
That was very loud.
It was loud.
Here's news.
Shall I begin?
Yes.
Sure.
Please do.
Okay.
And here's the news.
This is some
with Ellen.
And here's the news.
Well, we have to do our
Ellen
intro.
Fox.
Hold on. Wait 1 sec. And now for the news.
That was wonderful. Thank you very much, Al. You're not going to hear this from me very often, but I'm going to suggest that everybody tune into CNN on Sunday night. This is something that you heard about 10 minutes ago because we talked about it. But the upcoming Weeds 3 show, don't be laughing at me, Al. In the U.S., Barack Obama apparently tells Dr. Sanjay Gupta that not only do I think carefully prescribed medical use of marijuana may in fact be appropriate, and that we should follow the science as opposed to ideology on the issue. But I'm also on record as saying that the more we treat some of these issues related to drug abuse from a public health model and not just from an incarceration model, the better off we're going to be, which is quite a statement coming from the president, and it really is going to affect things for patients and users all around the world. Gupta points out that the scientific benefits and medical advantages to legalizing at least medical marijuana and in managing disorders such as PSD, the treatment of cancer, epilepsy, Alzheimer's, and even just pain alone, he says, that legalized medical pot could relieve symptoms while also cutting the demand for stronger narcotics, which are incredibly addictive. Overdoses on drugs, Gupta notes, are the greatest cause of preventable injury in this country. And in another story you've already heard tonight, thanks guys, on Thursday, Georgia's Governor Deal signed a bill legalizing certain low THC cannabis oils for medication-resistant epilepsies. They're very, very specific about this, but this will be the first time that patients in that state will have access to this life-changing medication. The bill is going to be known as Haley's Hope Act. It's named after a 5-year-old girl who suffers from a severe form of epilepsy. So congratulations to Georgia and to Haley. Oklahoma State has passed a proposal with 46 to 0 votes that will legalize the medical use of cannabis extracts. And this is another huge thing for patients all around the world when the states are starting to do things like this. This measure has already passed the House of Representatives, and now it heads to the governor's office. Under this law, a child with epilepsy who receives a recommendation from a physician will be authorized to use cannabis extracts. It will have low THC, and university medical centers would be allowed to produce, dispense, and study the medicine, which is really just as good as the patients being able to get it. The more studying, the better. This is something we didn't talk about yet tonight, so I guess I do have some new news.
Woohoo!
But the American feds have admitted, kind of backhandedly, that marijuana may have some benefit. The story reads that there's been a dramatic shift in the National Institute on Drug Abuse's stance on medical marijuana in the U.S. The NIDA, the agency in charge of researching and combating drug abuse, has long been a rival of the movement to legalize marijuana or any drug. From the Daily Beast, I got this little quote from the new act, or from the new thing on the NDA's webpage. It says, there's a question that they pose: how might cannabis be useful as a medicine? The website now contains statements admitting that cannabis may kill some types of cancer and reduce tumor size in other types of cancer. And that's it for the news, new and old. We won't repeat it very much again tonight. So back to you, Al and Marcel.
Actually, you'll hear it in about another hour when we replay the show.
Yeah. I was going to say, what do you mean you're not going to hear it again?
Well, I'm not going to hear it again.
No. Now.
Or I'm not going to say it again.
Why not? It was good news.
Well, actually, it was really good news.
Yes.
The fact that they're going to study it is.
Well, I mean, cannabis has been studied more than anything else in the world. So I think it's great that North American countries are now openly discussing the fact that they're going to start studying this. But the studies are already there. So they can just go read a lot of the other study results.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
they'll
difference.
accept them because, they're from foreigners, so it won't be the same.
Well, here's the thing. They talk that all the time, and I've brought this up several times because Canada is great for claiming that there's no studies, yet Canada ran a study. And it ran for 10 years through McGill University, and Dr. Mark Ware ran it. And it was
I'd read a story about a girl that was part of that study.
Right. They got to smoke joints. And they got to use...
they tried to get them to smoke a lot. They wanted to see if people would get addicted. And this girl said that, I could
wasn't
only
just
smoke
that.
so much, and I had to stop.
It was for the treatment of neuropathic pain is what the study was really
God, I'd
for.
love to be a part of that study.
And they had different grades of cannabis with varying amounts of THC and CBD in them. And the patients smoked and gave the reports on how it helped with their neuropathic pain. This study was an awesome study because it proved not only that cannabis worked for neuropathic pain, even smoking it, it also proved that more is better.
Yeah.
But
and it proved that it wasn't addictive.
Right, and it proved that it wasn't addictive. Because it contradicts everything that the government says, they'll just say there are no studies.
Okay, now I got questions now that I just remembered. You have to bear with me. This whole thing about depleting magnesium and stuff like that. Can you explain that to me? How cannabis does that? And
I'm not sure it does.
Well,
I've never heard that before.
There's been
I've heard it, but I don't believe it.
Okay, there's been studies that cannabis, if you use a lot, can deplete your magnesium levels. And I'd like to find out.
And this is a problem?
Well, I don't know if it's a problem or not, but you do need some magnesium in your body to live, right? And if you're smoking,
you walk down to the grocery store and
right.
you pick up a bottle off the shelf. They're about $2.
Yep, that's where I was going.
Magnesium is cheap.
That's where I was going, and because I've noticed that I end up with the circles under my eyes and the droopy eyes and things like that, and that's one of the common things that happens when you have magnesium depletion in your body. Right?
Yeah, it's very, very important. You get it also if you take calcium, if you get a Cal-Mag combination.
Okay, so if
you kind of need them both.
So if you were on something like Lipitor or something like that, that might happen as well.
On something like
Lipitor.
On something like what?
Lipitor.
It's possible, I suppose. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Huh. I just. I found it an interesting thing. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that woohoo, I found something bad, but we were talking about it yesterday, actually. Kelly and I were talking about it, and she was saying that we need to go and get some supplements. Now, the question that I had about it really was, when it comes to multivitamins or multi-supplements, is it better to take a multivitamin, or is it better just to take them individually?
There wouldn't be enough of it in any multivitamin. There's not enough of anything in any single multivitamin unless you buy a really good brand. I don't like to advertise companies, but Shackley puts out a really, really good multivitamin, but I think you have to buy that through the company. They don't sell it in stores, but it does have a DIN number.
Okay.
But you'd be better off if it's magnesium you're after to get calcium, magnesium. Everybody, doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, once you hit 50, you should be taking some calcium. and take twice what they tell you to on the label.
Okay. All right. I don't know anything about it.
You can look up and
I'm still reading about
what the
magnesium deficiency crap.
Oh, I knew he was going to do that.
It can cause depression. It can cause, your mind get a little boggly.
So can our government.
The symptoms are.
Well, and that's
it's a little bit like being deficient in your B vitamins.
And it can also cause pain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing that bothered me. I mean, that's what I don't get. Why haven't I heard about this before? Is my question.
Because it's a brand new 3-minute video out on the long-term effects of weed.
Okay.
And it says, Mr. Wiggins claims that marijuana depletes your magnesium levels, putting you on downward tracking cycle of highs and lows.
Well, and so what am I supposed to say when that's what happens sometimes?
Say I don't have highs and lows because I eat all my veggies that are high in magnesium.
No, but it means I have to start. I need to start looking at that and actually paying attention to that is what it means.
Well, I mean, you can always ask to get your magnesium levels tested when you go to your doctor for your yearly blood test.
Every 3 months, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. Even then, I might do that. I mean, I do it for vitamin D every year.
Yeah.
Because
the highs and lows that you mentioned were those emotional, physical, highs and lows?
It doesn't say, and I think that's what it actually is talking about is emotional highs and lows. But I mean, your government and CNN can do that, right?
Yeah. And it's not a big deal. I mean, the medication that I've been prescribed can cause me a stroke. I'd rather be a little bit deficient in magnesium than have a stroke.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that we can take anywhere that's not going to affect something. And if magnesium's the only problem, it's as easy as eating a lot more cabbage and kale or popping a pill.
Yeah, and this is like you said, Marcel, this is something that is going to be happening over and over and over again as we go on with this, because one of the reasons why everybody's bucking or taking 2 steps backwards and 1 step forward kind of thing is because there hasn't been enough time to do the tests that are necessary to find out what really happens long term. Right?
Yeah, but I think we've got enough chronic users that by now that if they were going to have a problem, it would have been identified.
It would have come up. My point is, we're going to start hearing now, and we've already started. I mean, one thing after another. It causes mania. Then it causes schizophrenia. Now it's depleting your magnesium levels, and it's gonna create black circles under your eyes, and you're gonna look like a raccoon and scratch your bum all day, and blah 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 blah.
Okay, so I think that's great that they can come out and say all of this stuff, but why don't we take a look at a drug that is advertised on television quite a lot?
Okay.
Right. Let's look at Humira.
Okay, please do.
Humira is meant
side effects may be.
Yeah.
Right. Humira is meant for people with rheumatoid arthritis.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
Cannabis is also recommended for people with rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
Here are the safety. This is on Humira's own website. Serious infections have happened in people taking Humira. These infections include tuberculosis and infections caused by viruses, fungi, or bacteria that has spread throughout the body. Some people have died from these infections. Humira may also increase the chance of getting lymphoma, including a rare kind, or other cancers. Humira can cause serious side effects, including hepatitis B infection in carriers of the virus, allergic reactions, nervous system problems, blood problems, heart failure, certain immune reactions, including a lupus-like syndrome, liver problems, and new or worsening psoriasis. You know what the side effects of cannabis are? You get fucking happy, hungry, and healthy.
Hi, healthy, and happy. Come on, say it right.
Whatever. But, I mean, seriously.
And if you need, in the worst case, you might have to take a magnesium supplement.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean.
Oh, my God.
Okay, So you have rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm not knocking rheumatoid arthritis because it's not something to joke about or laugh about, because for people that have it, it's rather devastating.
Yes.
But it's not an incurable fucking lymphoma caused by the medication.
And it's not tuberculosis.
And it's not blood problems, heart failure. By the way, if you're taking Humira, all of the side effects can actually be aided by using cannabis. So ditch the Humira and just use the cannabis. And
God.
And I mean, it's not a cheap drug. They're making a fortune off of it, and they're basically it's a roll of the dice. It might work, or you might die, or you might make some more money for some other doctors because your new diseases. Yeah, we got
crazy.
We have a screwed up world. I see the same thing with.
Go ahead.
I see the same thing with MS drugs because I have MS, so I have a lot of friends with MS that use what they call disease-modifying drugs. Well, I can tell you honestly that my cannabis has modified my disease. And I can tell you honestly that not one of them using a disease-modifying drug has had their disease modified. All they've done is basically just gone on the same, just adding new symptoms because of the side effects from the drugs. I still win.
Does Mum have a website? An actual website?
Mum.ca, yes.
Okay. It might be an idea
MUMM.ca.
Yeah, MUMM.
Yes.
It might be an idea to, I mean, what you just did, this drug is for arthritis. These are the side effects. It might be a good idea to have 5 or 6 different diseases and all of their drugs listed with all of their side effects.
You put that list together,
also,
and I will put an area for it on the website.
That's an easy one.
Website.
That's an easy one for the news lady to do because it's just a matter of going to the website. See, I did something even a little more in depth a few years ago, and I decided I was going to look at all the medications I was taking individually, not only the active ingredients, but also the inert ingredients. And I started with Advil.
Fillers, yeah.
Well, I found out that the inert ingredients are sometimes more dangerous than the active ingredient because they're made with known carcinogens.
And they will gum up your valves.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
Eventually, every pharmaceutical will kill you because really, when you look at the ingredients, you're mixing a cocktail of poison and something really disgusting, and that's bathtub scum. The nights. Seriously, after a bath and you have that grayish white ring around your tub.
Ring around the bathtub.
Yeah, well, that basic ingredient is in every pill you take.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Wait a second.
It's used to press the pill together to hold its shape.
I thought it was coal tar that they used for that.
No.
Which is poison too.
That's some they used to, but now it's more, I think it's calcium citrate or calcium, something like that. I remember it. I had the whole list but I stopped after Advil. I didn't want to know what was in the rest of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if your inert ingredients can cause damage, they're not really inert.
No.
Right? So, I found out that pharmaceuticals are designed to make you sick to make more money for more pharmaceuticals.
Almost seems like it, doesn't it?
Well, pharmaceuticals aren't designed to treat the disease, just the symptoms.
Yeah,
you don't make any money off of somebody if you cure them. But you can make a bundle off them to, ease their suffering under the guise of maybe it'll cure you.
Cutting out, Marcel.
Oh, sorry. Ask a lot of doctors if they would use a lot of the medications that they actually prescribe. Not too many doctors would.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give you a good example of that. My father is a psychiatrist, and when I talked to him about getting licensed here, he was all for it. Thought it was a great idea, knowing that it'll help the ADHD, it'll help the pain, yada yada. And then he got full blown Parkinson's, and he won't touch it, even though he knows that it might help, because he doesn't want something that, and this is his words, takes control of my body that way.
But Parkinson's is already taking control of his body.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But that's
way worse than cannabis ever would. At least the tremors would stop.
My point is that is a physician's view on his body.
Yeah.
See, that's not a very open-minded physician, is it? Not knocking your dad. I mean, he's probably a really nice guy, but when it comes to health and medicine, he doesn't have a very open mind.
Well, I mean, he's from a different generation, and his generation was, behavior modification was done by pills and light therapy. That's what doctors learned to do, right? So now I think one of the problems, I guess the reason I brought that up is because I think one of the problems now is the older doctors are the ones that are having issues with what's going on with cannabis, and it's the younger doctors that are coming up. Your Sanjay Guptas, and
no, I'm going to disagree.
No, okay, no, please.
And I'll tell you why. Because I've seen doctors from pretty much all ages, and basically any doctor that I'm around, I'm going to grill them about cannabis. And
my doctor, my personal
finding young doctors are still just as ignorant as the older doctors because they're not taught anything about the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah, I guess you're right there. I mean, my doctors, I would say 60s and very old school. It took 5 years of conversations every time I saw him to even get him to sign on my license. And now he has, a few other patients that use cannabis as well, and he's learning. He's learning every day. He's actually doing some research. So, I mean, he's a doctor. He is a physician.
It took me almost 2 years, a year and a half, of educating my doctor to get him to sign, and then almost 4 years after that to get him to stop calling it dope.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange? I walked into my doctor's office and told him I'd found something that actually works on my migraines, and he looked at me and he said, "Pot?" Well, and I said, "Yeah." He said, "You want to try it?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And right there, he wrote it out, never charged me anything. He's exactly the same
and that's
age
what,
as I am.
When he said, "Do you want to try it?" You should have said, "Sure," and sparked one up.
Ellen, that's kind of what happened with me. You see, this is what my doctor is very open to the cannabis thing, but he stalled for 5 years because he needed to do his own research on doses and stuff like that. He knew nothing about doses, so he wanted to do it right. But when I walked into the office and approached it the first time, I hadn't seen him in 10 years, and I flat out said, "What are your views on cannabis as a medicine?" He said, "I have none either way. We know it helps for pain and other related issues." He gave me a piece of paper to sign and faxed it down to COM. My doctor did that. But he would not sign for me for many years until he had the information he needed. Okay?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, doing the show with Amy, who worked at COM at the time, she heard that story over and over and over, as I'm sure you do, Marcel. You hear that kind of story over and over and over again. A doctor is willing to send you to a dispensary even though they're quasi-legal, but at the same time, they're not willing to sign off because that's their reputation. That's their word. They need to, and any doctor who doesn't get all that information before they sign one of those pieces of paper is negligible. Negligent?
Well, I wonder if my
negligent.
doctor already hadn't, because he said he already had a few patients that took it, so he may have already educated himself on it.
Possibly.
I took in a release form.
That was my next thing.
Made my doctor sign it.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to, but I made him sign it.
Yeah.
To take the responsibility off of him.
Yes.
Yeah. That way there's no responsibility for him.
Well, and then you get into another case like we talked about a couple of weeks ago when Kelly was here. She got fired by her doctor for coming in with product to show him that she was very serious and this is what I'm taking. And he was like 3 steps away from calling the cops. You know?
I'd say bring it.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he fired her. He sent her a letter saying that we do not want you on the premises anymore. You brought illegal drugs on the premises, yada, yada, yada. She took some RSO to show him, this is what I'm taking. I did the same thing with my doctor. He's got samples of everything that I have taken, cannabis related. Well, not samples.
Anymore, he doesn't.
Not samples, but you know what I mean. He's got records.
His samples got used up at Christmas and New Year's and stuff.
I don't know.
My doctor won't sign for other people because he doesn't want to be known as a pot doctor.
Yeah, and that's the same thing as most doctors, and that's very unfortunate, isn't it?
It is, but what he'll do is he'll send them to the pain clinic, and they'll get signed.
Yes.
Right, so the pain clinic will sign for them. That way he's not the signing physician, so he's not a pot doctor.
Well, yeah, and originally when I went in the first time with all the forms, he signed the specialist forms, and he said that I'll have to go to a specialist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was trying to, which
but see,
most
that was the
doctors
original program.
Yeah. Yeah.
The original program, you needed to have one of, I think, 7 different conditions. Anything else, you needed to have it verified as or by a specialist. Well, under the new program, that's no longer needed. Any doctor can sign if they figured that cannabis would work for your condition.
So under the MMPR, if you walk into your doctor's office and say, I'd like to use cannabis and this, this whole thing's going on, can you sign it for me? They are less liable now?
They've never been liable.
Okay, well, why do doctors think they're liable? Why do I have to go in with a disclaimer and everything?
Own people, I think, isn't it? Their own organization that gives them the problem.
There are colleges of physicians and places like that that it's taboo and things like that.
Well, they've actually said that they've actually told doctors that they are against it, and if you go for it, you're going to be in trouble. They've actually said that.
In your province.
Yes. Here.
But now, so from the Stats Can report, and everybody in this country assumes that, BC is not small. It's not true according to Stats Can. It's exactly what I suspected years ago, and that was Nova Scotia with almost 15%. But our College of Physicians tells our physicians in this province that the discretion of using cannabis is solely between the doctor and the patient.
Yeah.
So our doctors in this province can basically prescribe cannabis or allow cannabis as a medicine for their patients. And we're getting more and more doctors that are willing to do it because they're reliable.
Now, is that going against the federal?
Well, the federal claims there's no medicinal benefit to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on their website, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. But they're doing that so they can maintain the fact that it's on the Control Act.
Say that again?
They do that to maintain the fact that they can keep it on the Drugs and Substances Act. Claim that it's dangerous and toxic and has no medicinal value means they can keep it up there forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is those of us that keep using it, keep staying alive, We tell everybody.
I wish more people would tell. A lot of people don't. They just, I mean, in Canada, they say 40,000 is the magic number. But, I mean, the actual fact of it is there's probably another 80,000 Canadians that don't talk about it and don't say anything and just use it to medicate.
43% of Canadians admit that they've tried it.
Yep.
A third of the country admits that they've tried it more than once or still use it.
And this is the most recent poll?
This is for the most recent statistics. All right. So a third of our country admits that they've used cannabis more than once or still use it. Because of how people feel towards our government, you can assume that an easy 10% of those closet users said that they never used it because they'd be afraid that it would be monitored by the government.
Huh.
Because even today, if you say the word marijuana, people start whispering. Because you're not supposed to say that out loud. You could get in trouble. It's like lightning might strike you or something.
Like I said earlier in the show, I have actually been told by people that I was just hanging out with, kind of nudge, hey man, you're talking about pot a little too much. Like, how the fuck else am I supposed to educate somebody if I don't talk about a subject that's on everybody's mind right now?
Yeah, I mean...
And people that, like my sister, I love my sister, she's very open-minded about a lot of things, but she wants nothing to do with the cannabis thing. She knows that I use it. She'll even walk down the street while I'm smoking a joint. Okay, she'll sit in the room and hang out. But she has a very strong view on her, and it's her that doesn't want the cannabis, not other people. And so at least she's open-minded about that, I guess is my point, right?
Yeah. I listened to a radio show the other day because they had somebody on talking about the Stats Can report.
Yeah.
And I've been on radio show with this individual before, and she's actually extremely well versed. She knows that the solution is to remove cannabis from the CDSA. She knows the industrial impact that cannabis could have, as well as medicinal impact. When she got off, a caller called in, and all it really did was demonstrated to me the fact that we have a long way to go educating these people. Because this guy was a blathering idiot, claiming that all she wanted to do was get high, that there was no medicinal benefit to it. She was going to be leading herself down a road of destruction because of the mental psychosis and the problems to her lungs that cannabis would create and all of this. While he's driving down the fucking road talking on a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So, I mean, we've got a long way to go to educate people, but listening to something like that, these people are just too stupid to get it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm hoping he comes to the health. Listen, if you're the fella that called in that show the other day, come to Health and Wellness Expo tomorrow.
Or better yet, call us.
Call us. Come debate it. Tell us how much of an expert you are.
Yeah. We need to, we're going to try and push the call-ins a little bit more, I think, because I'd like to hear, I'm interested to know what our listeners are actually thinking, because you hear what mainstream media wants you to hear. You hear the interviews that they want you to hear. The only time you hear from patients themselves are on podcasts and shows like this. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately,
because our voice has to be kept hidden from mainstream media.
Oh, I ain't hiding nothing. I'll tweet CNN like just everybody else.
Our mainstream media that the government wants the people to see.
Yes.
That's all it is. If the government doesn't want you to see it, then the media is not going to put it out. They're not going to run the stories. They'll do a quick blurb on something, and then that'll be it.
It's quote-unquote the important issues that are viable to society in 2015.
Yeah.
But that is changing.
What is important is Senate expense scandals. What's not important is people being arrested and thrown in jail for trying to save their own lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is happening daily.
Every day.
Daily. Yep. It's sad. It's really, really sad.
So what do you do? And Ellen had to leave us.
Yes, she did.
Well, she got booted off, so
yeah, we
just won't bring her back.
We kicked her out.
But we'll say goodnight for Ellen. Good night for Ellen.
Thank you for nothing. Good night. No, I'm kidding.
No, thank you for the news, Ellen.
Thank you for the news.
We talked about it.
And, we won't do that again, will we, Marcel?
We'll just shut. We won't say anything about anything current until she does the news. Then that way we won't have discussed all what she wants to tell us.
All right.
Maybe we should get together with her beforehand.
That might be a good idea, too. But you know what?
We'd have to talk to her.
We'd have to talk to her then.
Yeah, that's true. All right. She's going to kill us. Yeah, if you have a question, go ahead, ask Ellen.
I hope, go ask Ellen. I hope you don't, I hope we're not making your headache worse, Ellen.
Do you think maybe we gave her a headache and that's why she left?
No, her headache was starting before the show, unfortunately. So.
Because she knew what was coming?
Yeah, she knew we were going to talk about the news before we let her do the news.
But I mean, it's good news. There's nothing bad and report.
No,
because it's going along the lines the way I expected. I don't like that Rowan is taking credit for it and ignoring the other glaring factors, but
which are? We have 15 minutes here.
Well, she takes credit for 15 to 17-year-old age group declining, but fails to mention that every other age group increased in usage. So we have our older generation is now catching on that this is medicine and it's beneficial to their health and it's better than the pharmaceuticals, so they're starting to use it.
Do you know what I see from that report? What I see is a lady who went after the high school age that's the most impressionable to start smoking pot, and which happens to be 15 to 17.
Sure, that is the most impressionable age, and I mean, it was always a high number before.
Yeah.
But it was always a high number because they were always having it drilled into their heads that cannabis is bad, it's a gateway drug, it'll make you insane, and all of this other crap.
I got to say that when I was in high school, we didn't have that problem. It was, you get caught smoking on school property, you're suspended.
Yeah. See, when I went to school, we'd hear it from the school, we'd hear it from our parents, we'd hear it from everybody that, cannabis is a bad drug and marijuana or pot's a bad drug and you should stay away from it and everything else.
No, it's not.
Never was.
They lied.
They did. They still do.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's all they've done is lied every chance they get to try and convince people that it's bad. And unfortunately, people buy into that crap and believe it.
Yeah, they do. So listen, I want to ask you something. I was joking earlier about ice cream. You didn't tell anything about it.
Yes, I made ice cream, but I made it too strong.
Uh-oh.
And I mean, the reason I know it's too strong is if I can feel it, then it's going to really hurt somebody else. So I'm not going to share the recipe until I adjust the strength of it a little, because I don't want anybody hurting themselves.
Wow.
Not going to hurt themselves. They're just going to end up falling asleep and missing a lot.
And then you can say thanks to the cannabis abuser, Marcel.
Yeah, don't blame me. I can explain it to you. I can't understand it for you.
What?
I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you.
Okay. It took me
Put your dyslexic mind around that one.
It took me a minute to understand it.
Yeah, it usually does. But it's serious. I mean, what I've tried to do is take all of the really confusing technical information and I don't like to say dumb it down, but put it down to a level that makes more sense for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And eventually it gets to the point where, yeah, I can explain it, but I can't make you understand it. You've got to open your mind and realize that what I'm saying is the truth.
You have to.
Pardon?
And in this case, it's not your truth. It's like this.
It's scientific truth.
That's what I'm getting at. Like you're not just saying this is my truth. You have to believe me because I'm me. Marcel has MS. It's enabled. Cannabis has allowed him to get out of a fucking wheelchair, and he allows him to get up on his roof and shovel snow in the winter. You're still shoveling snow, right?
No, I'm not shoveling now. I'm letting it melt, but it's still here.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's anything that I know isn't coming from me as being anecdotal evidence. It's because I've spent years and years and years researching all of the scientific documents.
Yes.
What I'm talking about. So this proof isn't my proof. This is the proof that actually exists.
Yes.
Right? So the stuff that I've researched on my own, it started with research that other people were already doing.
Yeah.
I just expanded it for myself to make it work for me.
Yeah.
But what works for me may not work for you.
Again, cannabis is patient-specific. Where it might work for one person, it might not for another. I know many, many people who say, I smoke joints and it doesn't do fuck all to me, so I don't use it. And then other people, like, I get really fucked up from just smoking one.
Right. Now, I look at it as this, because people ask all the time, what strain is best for this condition?
Yeah.
There's no right answer, and nobody can give you that answer. And if they do, they're full of shit.
Yeah. All they can do is give you a suggestion. For instance,
exactly. All they can do is suggest you try several different strains and use the one that works best for you.
When somebody says to me, because they, I'm very, very vocal about the ADHD thing. When somebody asks me, how do I not control it, but how do I deal with it? And what strain works for me? I'm like, well, what strain, what might work for me might not work for you. And it's like, because I know, for instance, a G13 is going to knock me off my ass. I'm going to have a panic attack. It's just too much.
Yeah.
I got some Purple Kush, and I got some skunk when I went to the dispensary on the last weekend. And the skunk, and I did an experiment, and you're going to enjoy this, Marcel. I did that indica sativa experiment, but what I did was I got a 3.5 indica and I got a 3.5 sativa. Okay?
Yeah.
And we sat down and I didn't say anything. I rolled a joint of the sativa. We were arguing and spatting with each other within 5 fucking minutes of smoking it.
Yeah.
Then I smoked, because it was high CBD, right?
No, high THC.
Okay, sorry, high THC. So then I smoked the indica, and we were like, yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, we ain't fighting no more. I love you, man.
Right.
Quite literally.
And that's because the CBD counteracts a lot of the cerebral high from THC.
Okay. So
So when you use a sativa, which is basically all THC and very little CBD, you get a very cerebral high.
Yes.
All right. So you get that high feeling.
Yes.
When you use an indica strain, which has a higher content of CBD and usually a lower content of THC, you get more of a stone feeling.
Yes.
sluggish, relaxed, calm.
Well, that's
because
what the THC
the
does,
CBD
right?
mellows out the high from the THC.
Okay.
Is all it is. But CBD has been proven to be more therapeutically beneficial for things like pain and things like that. Not to the point where the extremists are going about this CBD only oil crap, because you need all the cannabinoids.
I have to agree because, I'll tell you something. I get made fun of by my friends for this, but this week I've had no bud, really. I've been smoking shake all week, and I'm fine. But if I wasn't smoking the shake, I'd be a rip-roaring fucking asshole.
Right. But you got to remember, shake, or what people call shake. Shake to me is just the trim. It's the trim off the flowers. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
If you look at how the formation of cannabinoids grow,
yes,
they start at the flower and they grow outward on those leaves that are all cut off.
Yes.
But the first start of the cannabinoid, or the first cannabinoids to start on the trichome, the little stem and ball, is CBD.
Oh.
So all your trim, the leading edges of the crystals on your trim are the CBD. It's only when it starts to get cloudy and milky that the THC starts to form. And that's in closer to the flower because it's more mature and it's older. So that's why your trim works, or your shake works so good for you. It's because you've got the CBDs in it to keep you mellow and calm, as well as the THC to give you that whatever buzz you want.
Well, I mean, you smoke too much of it, you're going to get a headache.
Well, you smoke too much of anything, you're going to get a headache.
But it mellows me out. I can have a couple of bowls. I can even roll a joint. It works great in the vaporizer. I tell you that.
Sure.
And
here's my attitude. If it takes away the pain and allows you to move and be comfortable, go for it.
Well, that's what I made my first batch of butter.
How'd it turn out?
It's a little green, which I knew it was going to happen because I didn't add enough water. But kicked my ass.
Probably got less green because you didn't add as much water.
Like
the green is the chlorophyll that gets leached out of the plant.
That's right. No, I know that. Yeah,
so the water will push it out.
Yes. Okay. So
now the problem is the chlorophyll has such a horrible bitter taste to it.
Yeah, and the
people
cookies,
like me can't do that.
The cookies that I made chocolate chip this time, and the chocolate enhances it, so they are a very green tasting cookie. But I'm one of those funny people that happen to like it in all forms. I mean, you juice me something up, put a couple of little drops of something in there, and I'll drink it.
Can you eat peanut butter?
No, I can't stand peanut butter.
You don't like the taste of it?
I don't even like the smell or even look of it.
Oh, okay. Because peanut butter in a chocolate cookie will help defer a lot of that green flavor.
Yeah, but the only reason I made that is because, unfortunately, the oatmeal cookies are a popular cookie, and I don't have the pots and pans to do it all a la carte here. So I go out and get, I've discovered that I like the Betty Crocker. Here's a plug for Betty Crocker. Mix, and I like the chocolate chip, and I like the oatmeal, and I add a half a cup of can of butter into it, an egg, mix it all up good, 10 minutes in the oven on 375, and I got 3 batches of cookies sitting there to get me through however long.
So do you add that butter on top of what oil is already or being added to your mix?
No, I'm just using the can of butter.
Okay, so if it says use a half a cup of oil, you're using half a cup of can of butter.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to, like I said, this is I've been baking since a while now, just my own stuff, but it's the first time that I've actually made the butter for myself, and the strength wise, it's great. It does what it's supposed to. It even helps Buster as well, but color wise and taste wise need a little work. So we'll get there.
I gave mine a dose the other day. My penis got a dose.
Oh God.
Well, no,
Please explain that.
So I took Cannabis to the vet, and I got her spayed.
AKA my penis.
My penis. And she got to wear one of them funky collars and everything.
Yep.
So after a week, I could take the stitches out. I go and I look, and she's an idiot puppy.
She pulled them out alive.
So she didn't pull them out, but she had torn a lot by jumping around and stuff.
Ouch.
So I got her all cleaned up. 2 days later, I went back, cleaned it up again, looked at it, took the stitches out, saw that it was still a bit open. So I said, all right, let's just calm you down. So I give her a little dab on a treat, and I took a little dab and I rubbed it on the incision itself.
And it helped it?
Geez, cleared her right up because she had her dab, and she went in and laid down and slept all night through, didn't jump around or anything. She didn't lick off the stuff that I'd put on her. So I got up in the morning and checked her, and it was still there, and she was fine. So now I looked at it this morning, and it seems to be all healed up nicely.
We think that our little girl, our new little girl who's not even a year old, happened to run into a male somewhere along the line when we weren't looking, unfortunately.
That's why mine is fixed.
Yes, well, we didn't get her in on time. She just started out of the blue, and it was like, uh-oh. There wasn't time.
I decided she wasn't getting the chance to even start.
So this wasn't, if it happened, if we don't know. It may be a false pregnancy because she was being swooed by Buster and by Taco, who are, Buster's fixed. Taco is not 13, 14, 15-year-old Chihuahua. We honestly didn't think that he'd be able to
still
get
had
up.
It in him, eh?
We didn't think he'd even be able to get up on her back, man. She's a frickin' bull mastiff, for Christ's sakes.
Dogs are smart. She'd know enough to lay down. Have you been feeding that old guy tincture or anything like that?
He gets tincture, butter, whatever I have. When I got it, he's got it.
So you realize that even though he's old and you think it doesn't work, you're giving him an aphrodisiac.
I know that. He drives me fucking nuts. He paces at night. He wants to go out all the time. He wakes me up 4:30 in the morning. Let's go outside. Come on, let's go.
You're making your dog horny.
Yeah, I know. I'm giving him life. He's not just laying around.
Well, don't get mad if you get some deformed-looking puppies out of this one.
My dog's fixed, dude. Taco isn't.
That's the one I was talking about, Taco.
He doesn't get much. No, he doesn't get much cannabis. No.
Just enough to get him horny.
Well, no, I think that little Miss Rosie was enough.
Well, that's good. Congratulations on your new upcoming family.
We don't know yet, so I'm sure that there'll be a report in the news about it when it happens.
Yeah, what if you have like 10 of these?
I'll get Ellen on it. Well, actually, we're kind of thinking like mini mastiffs.
That would actually be cool. I was just thinking of that. Mini mastiff would be kind of cool.
And if that's the case, as Buster sits there beside me waiting to go outside staring at me, yup, keeping one. Like they'd just be so cool, man. But anyways, we'll keep you up to date. Now, listen, I found something I was posting while we're talking here, and I just want to say this, and then we're going to listen to some Dollar Bill. It's a song called 421, and it's about a guy named Daniel Chung who was incarcerated on 420 for being at a party and smoking a couple of joints. It's a whole story there. It's a meaningful story. It actually happened. I've been trying to find this guy for years and years and years to have him come on the show, but we've never been able to find him. And I wanted to say, I saw somebody post something which kind of hit it home, and I just wanted to say it and say goodnight to Marcel. And if you're helping someone and you're expecting something in return, you're doing business, not kindness. So
exactly.
There's a lot of people out there that are telling people that they're helping or they're trying to help, and they're just trying to make business for themselves. So be careful where you go, who you talk to, and, keep it green.
Pay attention, because we'll tell you how to help yourself.
Hey, you know what? Like, I don't know if anybody's listening, but I'll tell you right now, Marcel and I aren't making a dime from doing this. We're doing this for purely because it's what we like to do, and Ellen as well. So when you're listening to us, we may not do it all that professionally. There may be a lot of burps and giggles, but it's coming from the heart, and it's not a bunch of bullshit. We're trying to blow wind up your fucking ass. So only thing we're trying to put up your ass is some fucking cannabis if you need it.
Yeah, there you go.
And on that note, good night, bud.
Good night now. Have a good one.
You too.
A San Diego college student hallucinated, drank his own urine, and swallowed shattered glass after being forgotten about in a DEA holding cell for 5 days.
I think his name's Daniel Chong, he's 23, a college student working hard trying to get a degree. He woke up on 420, probably had some breakfast, took a shower, maybe called his mom before he exits. Then he called a couple friends just to hang out, take a little puff when someone brings Mary Jane out. Hours go by, chilling on the same couch, didn't know the ecstasy was chilling in the same house. It was getting late, so we decided to stay, plus he was having a good time, igniting the flame, trying to relax, not a worry on his mind, but his life would take a turn for the worst, give it time. I don't know the facts, this is what I heard, but his everyday life wasn't all about the herb. It was 420, man, tell me what did you do? I was sitting back in peace, getting blue too.
As NBC7 first reported, Chong was detained at the DEA office on Saturday, April 21st, following a drug raid at a University City apartment, where Chong admits he was smoking pot with friends. But he says agents told him he wasn't under arrest and even offered him a ride home. Hours later, Chong wondered why he was still there.
He slept through the night, but he woke up to a crash. Get on the ground and put your hands behind your back. The cops came to do a raid, wrong place, wrong time. He was just celebrating 420 bong time. But it didn't matter, cuff him all right now. Put him in the back of the car and go downtown. Question after question, they realize he's innocent. They tell him sit tight, we'll take you home in a bit. They kept his cuffs on and they put him in a holding cell. Then the door shut, time went by slow as hell. Hours passed, so we started beating on the door, screaming as loud as he could just to be ignored. No food, no water, no toilet, no sink, just a blanket on the bench and time to think. They couldn't really forget about him, could they? That's what he thought, then it was a new day.
I hallucinated by the third day, and I was completely insane, and by that time I was just trying to get my sanity back. I didn't care if I died. I just wanted to make sense of things.
Chong says at one point he tried to commit suicide by breaking his glasses and carving on his arm.
Daniel Chong told the San Diego Union Tribune he even tried to write "Sorry, Mom" into his arm with broken glass.
Still in the same place, 5 by 10, alive on the outside but no life within. Feeling hopeless and done, waving white flags, stomach feeling so empty. Then he found a white bag wrapped in a blanket, no hesitations. He was quick to take it, then he seen hallucinations. Drank his own urine, scratching the walls for water. Starts thinking about his mom, ain't no way to call her. Day 3, now he's thinking about suicide, feeling like he lost it, sitting there like who am I? He put the lens from his glasses in his mouth, broke it into pieces. Then he went and spit it out. He picked up a piece, started carving in his arm. Sorry, Mom, didn't mean to do you any harm. Then he swallowed the glass, hoping he would die. All of this just cause they caught him getting high.
He was rushed to the ER at Sharp Hospital when finally, after 5 days alone in a cell, someone opened the door.
That was when I really felt my life go. And for some reason, they heard me at that time and turned on a light and found me. At first, I was just relieved to be alive 100%.
It was day number 4, but he didn't have a clue. He was slouched on the floor like, what else can I do? Body in shock like he was hit with a stun gun. Then the door opened like, where did you come from? Call an ambulance, stamina and suffering. The government doesn't give a what, start uncuffing him. He's dehydrated, not to mention kidney failure. All of this nonsense cause the kid's rebellious. 4 days in the cell, 5 in the hospital. Missed an exam, survived every obstacle. They apologized not to his face. Now he's suing 20 mil, sounds like an easy case. He deserves every penny of it, think I'm wrong? That's like saying clowns never had some makeup on. I would say what he went through is hell. Now 421 means trapped in a cell.
According to the Union Tribune, Chong spent 5 more days in the hospital and is now recovered. The DEA has not apologized for the alleged incident.
For his part, the DEA promises a full review, and Chong says that's great. He wants some answers. He says he wants justice. Meantime, this attorney says he will be filing a claim against the DEA. The DEA calls it an accident and promises a full investigation.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, hey, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the cheese will grow. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.